Hello and good afternoon. CTS265 Section 840 students for the Fall 2015 semester at Anne Arundel Community College. Today's video tutorial is going to be on Challenge 1 in our Cisco Learning Labs setup, where we're going to be configuring RIPng. Alright, so here's our scenario. Over to the left, I believe, been able to get this to be a little larger when we take a look at the Telnet windows, so they're not so small. So the company that you work for added a new branch office. The senior engineer, Bob, has installed a router at the new location, made physical connections, and changed the router name. So our job in the challenge is to configure branch 2 or Br2 with IPv6 addresses and RIPng. So Bob points out that the currently configured routers have statically configured default routes. He has tasked you with reconfiguring the network in which only BBR, which is this B branch router here, that only that router has a default route configured, and that all other routers acquire that route through RIPng. So in just taking a look at this, right, we kind of already have an idea that it's probably going to be on this Ethernet 01 interface, where we're going to make our IPv6 RIP default information originate, right? And it's interesting, pay close attention here, the default route configured and all other routers acquire that route along with all other routes through RIPng. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in here. We're not going to take a look. There's some hints that you can use. We're going to look at validation and the job aids. And again, the job aid is simply going to show me my IPs that I'm going to be using. So we may refer back to the scenario, but we're going to stay away from the hints for now and see if we can get through this activity without actually referring to those. And this is what you should be trying to do as well. All right, so let me actually make sure that help and settings, I'm using the local Telnet, and I want the text to be largest. All right, so there we go. So let's pull this over here. And so we'll pull the scenario back up, and we'll slide this guy over here. There we go. All right, and we'll get our job aids set up as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. We know that what we want to do is make sure that only the default route from here is being originated. We're interested in what branch 2 is doing. So let's take a look at Br2, and actually it looks like it may have, trying to pull my secure CRT up there, and this is where I wanted to do the local Telnet screen. Pull the scenario back up. I apologize here. Get this sorted out, and let's get our job aids up. There we go. All right, so let's take a look at branch 2. There we go. That's what we were hoping for. Okay, so we're going to go from user exec to privilege exec. I'm just going to simply say show IPv6 protocols. Again, some quick commands. It says IPv6 routing protocol is connected, so we don't see anything related to RIPng. How about a show IPv6 interface brief? Right? As you can see, the physical connections have been made, just like Bob had said, but yet we don't have anything configured. So, referencing back here, we've got a loopback address we want to set up, as well as the Ethernet 00 interface. So we'll step back over here, and let's go ahead and go into global config and do show run, and let me include IPv6. So what do you think I'm looking for here? Right, I'm looking to see if IPv6 unicast routing is enabled. We clearly see that it's not, so let's go ahead and get that turned on right away. So IPv6 UNI. If I run that command again, you can see now IPv6 unicast routing is configured, and that's all set up for us. That's great. Let's configure our interfaces. So on Br2, let's do loopback interface 0 first. And the IPv6 address on the loopback interface, I'm referencing over here on the left, the job aid to make sure we get the right IP in here, is 2001:db8:, and again, a little more difficult string there, C0A8:1400:1/64. All right. So we've got that set up. Now we know that we're going to want to advertise this guy into RIP. So now I don't have RIP configured. Remember, if I type in IPv6 RIP, and then we'll name the process CCNP_RIP enable, what happens? You notice we didn't get an error message. So if I say do show run section RIP, it auto-magically created for us, by running this command here, it auto-magically created for us the IPv6 router RIP with the process name for RIPng configuration section, right? So again, you can enable it on an interface without having declared the global configuration setting, and it'll automatically or auto-magically do that for you. All right, so let's clear out our typing there. Okay, so we've got it enabled on the loopback interface. Next, let's jump into Ethernet 0.0, and same thing. We're going to say IPv6 address, and now 2001 DB8 colon, and this is going to be AC10 colon 1400 colon 2/64. And again, I'm also going to go ahead and say FE80 colon 2 for my link local, because I want to make it a little easier for me to discern which routers I'm looking at if I have to get into troubleshooting or any debugging output. Now, do show run interface E00. What's the command that's in there that's going to prevent this from working? You've got it, the shutdown command. So we want to bring that interface up. We're going to say no shut. All right, so branch 2, and let me make sure that that is good. If I say show IPv6 protocols now, you can see that, and this is good, right? Because I run this command and I realize, you know what, hey, let's get back into interface Ethernet 00, and we forgot our IPv6 RIP, CCNP_RIP enable, right? So now let me go ahead and say show IPv6 protocols, and we've got RIPng running on Ethernet 00 and on loopback 00. Do I have show IPv6 route? Haven't learned any routes yet from any of the other RIP processes on any of the other routers, right? But that's okay. And then finally, how about show run section RIP? And we see that all of our RIP configuration is in there. All right, so that is Br2. Let's reference back to the diagram. So if Br2 has been taken care of, and we're confident we've got that interface configured and this interface configured, and we've got our RIPng configured on both of those interfaces, right, as well as the global section here on the router, let's come over to the HQ router, because remember, the task is that the default gateway or the default route is only supposed to be advertised from the BBR router. So let's come to the HQ router and take a look, and specifically we want to take a look here at the Ethernet 01 interface, the Ethernet 00 interface, and let's see how HQ is currently configured. So let's go ahead and click on the HQ router, and hopefully this is a little larger and you're able to see things a little better. We'll go from user exec to privilege exec and then into global config, and let's do some checks. So do show IPv6 protocols. All right, well, we've got a RIPng process that's running on this router. It's on Ethernet 0200 and the loopback interface, and the name of the process is CCNP_RIP. So the interface we're interested in is going to be Ethernet 01 on the HQ router. And what do we notice right away? Just doing the protocol, the show IPv6 RIP, or the show IPv6 protocol command, we can see that the Ethernet 01 interface doesn't have it enabled. So let's take a look. Let's see what that looks like. Do show run interface Ethernet 01. Well, as you imagine, right? Remember, Bob got the physical connectivity up. He was Johnny on the spot when it came to layer 1, but or layer 1, layer 2. But with the layer 3, we don't have much of anything happening, right? So let's go ahead now and jump into Ethernet 01, and we'll refer over here again to the job aid, where we're going to say IPv6 address, and this is the headquarters Ethernet 01 2001 DB8 colon, and this is AC10 colon 1400 colon 1/64. And again, It takes a few seconds and can save you a lot of time troubleshooting. We're going to get our link local in there as FE80::1. Now, we're also going to go ahead and say IPv6 RIP, CCMP underscore RIP, enable. So we're going to enable RIP on that interface. Now, we've enabled it on the interface that's facing the other router. So if I say do ping 2001:db8:AC10:1400::2, which is, I believe, the interface, or was that the interface on the other side for Br2? What did we configure? Ethernet, what is it? 00 on Br2. So let's do a, I don't see it there. Okay, let's push this out of the way here. Sorry about that. On router 2, show IPv6 interface brief. Our Ethernet 00 was 2001:db8:AC10:1400::2. So that was correct. And we get the T's back. Let's double check here and make sure do show run interface Ethernet 01. And why do you think we're getting the T's? You got it. If you're looking at the config there for Ethernet 01, it's going to be tough for me to ping out this interface when the interface is actually shut down. So let's resolve that, and now let's come back over here. Oh, there we go, a little too quick. And there we go. Now we've got our exclamation marks, we've got connectivity. So now I can come over to branch 2, and let's say show IPv6. First we'll do the protocols, right? So yep, it's run on Ethernet 00. What about show IPv6 route? And take a look at that. I'm actually picking up RIP routes, and I'm learning them from the headquarters router. So if I were to say show IPv6 RIP database, you can see there that we've got a number of routes in the RIP database. And what about next hops? So there are 5 paths for me out that Ethernet 00 interface going through the headquarters router. Show IPv6 route RIP is only going to show me the RIP route. So here are those routes that I am currently learning, right? And let's, again, understand the RIB output here. So via, right, and this is where it makes it nice and easy. It's the headquarters router, so we numbered it, gave it the link local FE80::1, and Ethernet 00. Is that our Ethernet 00 here on branch 2, or is that Ethernet 00 over on the branch 1 router, or I'm sorry, on the headquarters router? So again, it's the next hop IPv6 address out or to the interface Ethernet, or out the, excuse me, it's the next hop IP, right? Link local FE80::1, and it is out the Ethernet 00 interface on Br2. So I've got the next hop IP and the outgoing interface, right? If I were to say show whoops, apologize there, let's clear the screen. So if I were to say show IPv6 Ceph, right? Here's the Ceph table, which shows me the next hop IP and the outgoing interface, right? All right. So we've got branch router 2 set up now. Let's go back to the headquarters router, because remember, Bob's recommendation, or Bob's task to us, was to make sure that we get rid of any default static routes that may also be on any routers other than the BBR router. So let's do a do show run include, and we could say route. So as you can see, there's that IPv6 route. There's that default route that actually points to the BBR interface. Well, we need to get rid of that, so we're going to say no IPv6 route ::/0 over to 2001 db8 AC10:6400::2. So now if I run the command again to take a look, you can see my default route, default static route, is now removed from the headquarters router. All right, so let's come back over to our diagram here. So we look good on BR2, we're learning routes, RIPng routes. We look good on the headquarters router. We've got Ethernet 01 configured, And we've also removed the static route there. Let's take a look at Br1 just to see what's happening over here. So we're going to go from user exec to privilege exec, and we'll work out a global config here. I'll say do show Ipv6 protocols, right? All right, so it is running a RIPng process, ccmp_RIP. It's on the Ethernet 00 and loopback interfaces. So do show Ipv6 route. All right, and I am definitely learning some routes, right? So you can see RIP routes are being learned. And I also have a static route configured. Now remember, we need to get rid of these. We're not supposed to have any statics in our environment. So let's take care of that first. Do show run, include route. And there's the static. So I'm going to say no Ipv6 route : /0. And it's the 2001 DB8 :AC10. :A00 : 1. So if I try to confirm, is it gone? It is definitely gone. Let's look at our routing table again. Do show Ipv6 route. And that static route is definitely gone. So now we're only learning about the RIP routes from the headquarters router, but still no default route on either branch 1 or branch 2. So everything looks good on branch 1. So we'll come back to the diagram here, and let's click on BBR and see show Ipv6 protocols. So it's running RIPng. It's running only out the Ethernet 01 interface, right? And that is the interface that is facing everybody else. Let's see, does BBR even have a static route? So we'll say show run include route. Sorry, not a static route, I apologize, a default static route. And it does. So there's the default route that we're looking for, the Ipv6 route : /0. Now what we need to do is we need to propagate this throughout the rest of the environment. First, let's say show Ipv6 route. And BBR is also learning other RIP routes. So it looks like RIP is running. Let's go ahead and let me reconfirm here. It's going to be Ethernet 01 on BBR. So we'll go into global config, do show run interface Ethernet 01. And the RIPng process is definitely enabled there. So let's go into Ethernet 01, and we're going to say Ipv6 RIP ccmp_RIP. And what are the options we've got here? So default information, enable, metric offset, or summary. I'm going to say default information, right? And what do I want to do? Only or originate? Well, let's take a step back here to the scenario. We have been tasked by Bob to reconfigure the network in which only BBR has the default route configured, and all other routers acquire the route through RIPng. So we're there, right? We've got the right interface, we've got the default information command, but learn the default route along with all other routes. So which is it going to be? Originate or only? Absolutely right. Originate, right? Because if I said only, then it would only send out the default route. It wouldn't be the default route along with all other routes. So we say default information originate. Let me type in. So let's go to branch 1. Let's see what branch 1 now sees in his routing table. Nothing yet, but let's see what happens here. We'll give it a couple seconds, and boom, take a look there. Fantastic. At the very top of the output, there is my RIP route, and that is my default route learned from RIP, right? And when we see the Ethernet 00 interface, if I mouse over the diagram, the Ethernet 00 interface, right? That is the interface on which we are learning that advertisement. So there we go. We picked it up on router, and let me clear the screen here real quick. We picked it up on branch 1. Let's scoot over to the headquarters router. What does the headquarters router see? Do show Ipv6 route. He is also learning that default route, and it shows that Ethernet 02 interface because that's the interface on which that advertisement is coming in. So again, we see here when it reports in the HQ router says that it's learning that default route, and that is the interface associated, because that is the interface on which the advertisement for that is coming in. Same thing here. And when we did the show IPv6 route, branch 1 is saying, yeah, I'm learning it, and I'm learning it inbound on the Ethernet 00 interface. And again, the HQ router is advertising that default route along, right? Remember, RIPng, when the advertisement comes in for RIP, any interface and all interfaces on which RIPng is running, the router is going to send out his full routing table to all other RIPng neighbors. And again, there's no neighbor table because RIPng is very simple. It just sends the routing update out any interface running RIPng, on which RIPng is enabled, and we are running split horizon. So the question to you is the HQ router then going to turn around and advertise the routes learned from BBR back to BBR? And the answer is no. That is what split horizon prevents. We're not doing poison reverse, it's just split horizon right now. So let's clear our screen here, and we've looked at HQ. Let's look at Br2, branch 2, show IPv6 route. And there we go. We've got the default route. Okay, so we've done everything. Let's validate everything. I'm pretty sure we've done everything at this point. So let's go ahead and validate, verify that Br2 is configured. So we would say show IPv6 interface brief. Whoops, sorry about that. Show IPv6 interface brief. And yep, the loopback interface and Ethernet 00 are configured. If you don't see that, we need to verify things. Test connectivity, right? So let's go ahead and from Br2, we're going to say ping 2001 db8 colon C0A8 colon C800 colon 1. All right, we've got full reachability. And this is a nice command here too, right? So instead of showing the whole routing table, I would say show IPv6 route 2001 colon db8 colon C0A8 colon C800, because I only want to see the routing table entry for that route. And you can see that it's known via, we're learning it. That's what the known via means. And in fact, let me get the pin up here. So you can see it's known via the RIP process, right? That's how we're learning it. What's our administrative distance? It's 120. Our metric is 2. And the routing paths, right? So on Br2, it's FE80 colon 1 is the next hop out that Ethernet 00 interface, right? And the last update we received was 10 minutes or last updated 10 minutes and 40 seconds ago. That's when the first update had come in, right? So that is not showing the 30-second update intervals, right? That's not what this is referencing. This is when we first received an update. All right, let's clear the screen here and work back over. So we did get the desired results there, so we're good. On Br2, Br1, and headquarters router, make sure that you can ping the RIPng originated route. So we are going to go ahead and say, they actually just want us to do the show. So show IPv6, and let me pull this back up. Hopefully I can save some time here. db8 colon 101 colon 101 colon 43. And absolutely, we are learning that route from the headquarters router. They want the same command on Br1, so do show IPv6 route 2001 colon db8 colon 101 colon 101 colon 43. Are we learning that? We are, right? And it's definitely going, we're definitely learning that. And that is the, let me make sure I've got the right route here, RIP and Agent Internet Services route. That is correct. All right, and now on the HQ router, our final verification, we're going to say do show IPv6 route 2001 colon db8 colon 101 colon 101 colon 43. And absolutely, we are learning that RIP route. So if you don't see these, right, you'd have to check to see, hey, did we originate the default route? And then on Br1 and HQ, did we manually remove the statically configured default routes? And the reason for that is, remember, those static routes, those have an administrative distance of 1, which is still better than the RIP advertised default route that would be coming, whoops, sorry about that, that would be coming in, which would be 120, right? All right, well, this wraps up Discovery 1. And there is the solution set, and I'm pretty sure that we met all criteria that Bob had tasked us with. Okay, thanks for watching, and again, great activities to really reinforce all of your knowledge that you've acquired so far about RIPng. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you on Monday for EIGRP.